Welcome to Breaking the Cycle, a podcast that aims to shed light on the pervasive issue of domestic violence in diverse cultural contexts. In today's episode, we bring you an incredible, moving, and inspiring tale of one individual's courageous journey to break free from the intergenerational cycle of domestic violence. Together, we embark on a journey of awareness, empathy, and transformation. So sit back, open your hearts, and join us as we explore the power of healing, self-discovery, and the pursuit of a better future.
I was living in a highly unpredictable context. My father was a heavy reader. I used to see him reading mostly political books. He used to be highly opinionated, politically active, and I used to be interested in how eloquent he is when he speaks. But there was another side of him that affected me throughout my whole life. My father was very abusive to my mother, and this is something that traumatized me a lot throughout my childhood. There were times where my mom ended up in the hospital, but I didn't know that this is wrong. I thought this is how a family functions. I thought this is normal. I used to fear my father, but I used to always love him because I thought that he is my safety, even though he is not a safe person. This is how a family is. There is no other way, because even my big brother, when he got married, I saw him several times hitting his wife, even when she was pregnant. My sister, who is a nurse, who was even successful in her career, she was like in relationship with an abusive partner. He even once broke his nose, and they ended up getting engaged and married. And even when I was asking her, like, how would you be with him after all of that, she said, like, that's love, and you'll understand when you grow up. And this repelled me from having a successful relationship. Like, I started questioning my sexuality because I was always repelling from men, because I thought that this is how men are. All men are abusive, but on the other side, I don't want to be with an abusive man. I used to run away from their fights through studying, reading, education later in my life, because the attention that I used to get from the teachers saying that I have a lot of potential, that I am a really good student, this was my safe place. This was the place that I was comfortable at. Run away to another reality, run away to a place that makes me feel better. I got an exchange program, and I got to spend a year in the US to study for university. And this is where like things started somehow to change in my perception. In the US, like on campus with other students, there were students like who had amazing relationship with their fathers. The father would come over to visit them in the dorm with the mother, and you would feel like this is a happy functional family. But I was like in denial. I wasn't believing that this could be true. I felt like they are covering it and they are not saying the truth, or they are faking it. I couldn't believe that there would be like a normal life, a functional family that is normal, where the mother and the father would mutually respect each other, where there will be no abuse in the relationship. Like, there are families who are like functioning normally, but they are way far from my family. They are way far from my society. And then I came back, and I also kept on focusing on the university, the studying, getting straight A's, being socially and politically active, reading a lot of books, but always repelling from idea of being in a relationship with someone, until throughout my last year in the university, while I was graduating, I met someone, and we met at the bookstore, because I used to work in the bookstore, and we were talking together about mutually read books, and I still remember it was a very interesting discussion, and he asked me for a date. Throughout the several first few dates, he was very respectful, very calm. He listens. But I was yeah, so he might be faking it because we are at the beginning of the relationship, but things will not stay like this. But throughout time, even when misunderstanding happened, even when we fought about things, like I was the one who was reactive, but he was the one who is like breathing, explaining things, calming down, giving me strategies like maybe we need now to calm down and then talk about it when we are at a calmer stage. And he was like highly respectful to my body boundaries. And these things at the beginning triggered me because I was like, why is he that respectful? Why is he that nice? Will he change? Will he abuse me? Because my reality throughout a long time of my life revolved around the fact that men are abusive. When you are in a relationship with them, they will abuse you, and this is part of the love language. But it ended up being the opposite way. He was highly affectionate. He was the opposite of everything that my brother and my father were. I wasn't understanding, like, men shouldn't be like this. How is he like that? But then I realized that men are not like this. It's only my father and my brother that were like this, and the society surrounding me. But men could be or should be like what my boyfriend is. My parents didn't want him. Like, my parents were making fun of him. My parents were like, he's not man enough to protect you. So yeah, I felt like he came to my life as like I didn't need him, but his addition to my life was making me happy. So I decided to stay with him. And then we got engaged, and then we got married, and things were going great. And then I got pregnant. And when I gave birth, things like really got worse. He was very supportive, but for me, my mental health deteriorated when I gave birth. All my childhood memories started resurfacing, and I was like severe postpartum depression, high anxiety, suicidal thoughts. And my husband used to look at me crying, holding my daughter, not enjoying motherhood, because like for me, motherhood is only seeing my mother being abused. This is the image of the mother that I had in my life, and I didn't want to be that mother, but this is the only mother image that I knew. So I didn't know what a mother is beside that. And this is where my husband suggested that I seek therapy. He was like, I support you and I'm here to listen to you, but I think at this stage you really need an expert. Throughout therapy, I started realizing that I'm afraid of being the mother that have raised me. I'm afraid of being my mother. So with time and through therapy and through the support of my husband, I started seeing things differently. I started zooming out and seeing that I am safe. I am in a healthy relationship. I am going to be the mother I didn't have. I am going to raise my daughter to see her mother as a successful, confident woman. I will teach her that love is about respect. Love is never about abuse. Then I realized that, okay, this is about my family, but what about my society? What about like the lack of support in healthcare, the lack of support in our judicial system, in reporting to the police? Like, if even like I break the notion of what happens within the family, how will I be able to create a different society to my daughter where she can go to the police and report if something happened to her? So this is where I discussed this thoroughly with my husband, and we decided to move, and he was highly supportive to that. We decided to move to a country that is, that respects women's rights, where, if she seeked help, there will be support for her, where even if she ended up with an abusive partner, God forbid, there will be a supporting society where within the society abuse is not accepted, and she would have rights, and those rights will be protected. Now I'm talking after 10 years of marriage, where I forgive my mother because she gave what she could with what she had. I wish my father has been raised in a different way in a society where abuse is rejected, and I wish he was different, but at least I am grateful that I broke the cycle and I didn't become my mother, and I didn't marry someone who is similar to my father. And I'm raising now 2 kids in a safe context where they know that Love is respect. Love is understanding. Love is everything positive and nice. Love should make us happy. Love should never make us afraid or hurt. And I am sharing my story for others to know that abuse throughout our life traumatize us and make us weak and vulnerable, and sometimes we end up repeating the same cycle like my siblings did. I struggled to be able to break that cycle, so maybe sometimes starting from the beginning, raising children in a context that is safe will have great implications on their adulthood and on the way they will get to have a good relationship and safe context family-wise if they decided to create their own family.